The notes.
It just says, ask him about the Batman movie, the new Batman movie.
What I wanted to kind of take away, because I'm not judgmental.
You're not judgmental. Oh, you don't want to talk about this?
I don't want to talk about...
People want you to talk about this.
You do?
Yes, they do.
For millions of fans around the world, the 1960s Batman TV series wasn't just a show, it was a cultural earthquake. Kids rushed home from school, adults tuned in for the campy humor, and Adam West became an overnight icon. His smooth voice, his sharp jawline, and his perfect delivery of lines like old chum made him a legend. But behind the bright colors, the comic sound effects, and the fame was a truth so shocking, so unfair, that even Hollywood insiders still shake their heads today. While Batman turned ABC into a monster success and filled the pockets of toy companies, advertisers, and studio executives, Adam West himself made almost nothing. Not a percentage of merchandise, not a share of reruns, not a single royalty check from the endless Batman toys, lunchboxes, cards, posters, or Halloween costumes. Why? Because of a contract loophole so outrageous that modern lawyers use it as a cautionary tale. Adam West gave Batman his face, his voice, and his public image. His performance defined the character for an entire generation. He became a cultural symbol, appearing on talk shows, in parades, and at conventions. Yet behind the scenes, he could barely pay his bills. While others raked in millions from his likeness, he received applause, and nothing more. Hollywood promised him immortality, but delivered him financial ruin. It's one of the most shocking examples of a studio squeezing every drop of value from an actor, while giving almost nothing in return. And the most heartbreaking part, Adam West didn't even realize the loophole existed until after the show became a blockbuster success. By then, it was too late. This is the story of how TV's most beloved Batman was robbed not by a villain in a purple suit, but by a contract printed in black and white. Before Adam West became the Caped Crusader, he was just another struggling actor in Hollywood. Handsome, talented, charming, yet constantly overlooked. He spent years moving between low-budget films, brief TV appearances, and commercials just to make ends meet. Casting directors liked him, audiences responded to him, but he never got that one big break. Hollywood is full of faces like his, promising, expressive, memorable, yet almost destined to float between projects. That all changed with a single phone call in 1965. Producers Lorenzo Semple Jr. and William Dozier were rebooting Batman for television. But this wasn't going to be the dark, brooding Batman audiences know today. Their version was campy, colorful, intentionally exaggerated. They wanted a hero who could play the role with absolute seriousness, while surrounded by absurd villains and comic sound effects. They needed someone with presence, charisma, and the ability to deliver ridiculous lines with total sincerity. When Adam West walked into the audition, the room went silent. His posture, his voice, and his understated confidence made him the perfect fit. He didn't even have to try. He was Batman, and the studio knew it instantly. Adam was thrilled. Not only was he about to play one of America's most recognizable characters, but he believed the contract offered to him was standard and safe. He signed it quickly, eager for the work, grateful for the opportunity, and unaware of the fine print that would later come back to haunt him. Filming began, and almost overnight, Batman became a phenomenon. Ratings exploded. Adam West was on magazine covers, talk shows, parade floats, you name it. Children idolized him. Parents loved the show. Advertisers poured millions into merchandise, but the success took a heavy toll. Adam couldn't go anywhere without being swarmed. Privacy vanished. Every public appearance required him to be Batman, whether he liked it or not. He was no longer Adam West, he was the walking embodiment of a franchise that everyone was profiting from, except him. Within months, merchandise sales skyrocketed into the millions. Toys, pajamas, lunch boxes, action figures, the world couldn't get enough. Yet Adam West received not a penny from any of it, because the contract he had signed without a lawyer, without negotiation, without realizing its impact, contained a loophole allowing the studio to use his likeness however they wanted, without paying him royalties. But Adam didn't know that yet. All he knew was that he had become the biggest TV star in America. Fame had finally found him. Money, he assumed, would follow. He had no idea how wrong he was. When Batman exploded into a cultural phenomenon in 1966, Adam West assumed his life was finally stabilizing. He was on every magazine cover, appearing in national commercials, and performing in front of packed crowds wherever he went. Kids screamed his name in shopping malls, adults admired him, and the studio executives treated him like a golden ticket. To the outside world, Adam West was rich, powerful, an untouchable dot, but behind the mask, he was living a very different reality. Like many actors desperate for a breakthrough, Adam had signed his Batman contract without legal help. He was so eager for steady work that he didn't question the small details. Unfortunately for him, those small details were exactly where the trap was hidden. The contract contained a hidden clause, an overlooked loophole that gave the studio complete control over Adam's likeness in perpetuity. This meant they could put his face on toys, sell his image on posters, release his voice on records, distribute his performances worldwide, and rerun the show for decades, without owing him a single dollar, while every Batman lunchbox, Halloween costume, board game, and toy figure filled corporate pockets with millions. Adam West was making the same paycheck. He started with one that barely covered his living expenses. He quickly realized that fame without financial security is a cruel illusion. At first, he didn't even know anything was wrong. He assumed royalties were being handled somewhere behind the scenes. But one day, while signing autographs at a public event, a parent approached him with a bag full of Batman toys. "Do you get money from all this?" she asked playfully. Adam paused. He laughed politely, but the question bothered him. That night, he called his agent. The answer he received changed his life. "Adam, you don't get merchandise royalties." He thought he misheard. "How my face is on everything. Your contract gives the studio total rights. You signed it." For the first time, Adam realized he wasn't just underpaid, he had been locked out of the fortune he helped create. While the world ate up Batman merchandise like candy, Adam West struggled to pay his mortgage. Hollywood executives earned millions by using his name, his voice, his image, everything that made Batman iconic, yet he made nothing beyond his base salary. Everywhere he looked, he saw reminders of the injustice. At toy stores, racks filled with Batman figures. At newsstands, magazines featuring his face. At parades, children dressed like him. On TV, commercials using clips of him. And every single one of those uses earned him zero. What made it worse was the emotional toll. Adam West was an easygoing man by nature, but the realization that he had been legally cheated, trapped in a contract he couldn't renegotiate, shook him deeply. He approached the studio to ask for fair compensation, but paperwork is cold. Lawyers shrugged. Executives deflected. He was told, "Adam, you signed it. That's the business." He wasn't just being denied payment, he was being dismissed. As Batman continued to dominate pop culture, Adam found himself sinking into anger and fear. Every toy he saw on a shelf felt like a reminder of a mistake he couldn't undo. He had finally become a superstar, but one locked out of his own success. What stung the most was not even the money. It was the betrayal. He had given everything to the role, his time, his energy, his privacy, his identity. He became a global icon, yet he remained financially powerless, trapped in a legal cage designed to benefit everyone except him. The real villain of Adam West's story wasn't the Joker or the Riddler. By the late 1960s, Adam West had become a household name. Every American child knew him as Batman. His signature calm demeanor, unshakable composure, and humorous seriousness made him the definitive version of the Caped Crusader. Yet while the world celebrated him, his bank account told a different story. The contract loophole that had locked him out of merchandise and royalties meant that Adam's fame didn't translate into wealth. At conventions and public appearances, Adam West was treated like royalty. Fans adored him. Collectors sought his autograph. Children imitated his voice and mannerisms. But behind the smiles and photo opportunities, Adam carried a quiet frustration. He had given the role everything: his identity, his time, his energy, but the financial rewards that should have accompanied such dedication never materialized. To understand the scale of the injustice, consider this: Batman merchandise alone generated millions in revenue for the studio. Action figures, lunchboxes, costumes, comic tie-ins, board games, and more. Every item featured Adam's likeness. Every dollar earned from these items went to the producers, advertisers, and toy companies. While Adam remained on his modest salary, he tried to address the issue. Meetings with studio executives were formal but unhelpful. Lawyers reviewed the contract and confirmed the grim reality. Adam West had no legal claim to any merchandise royalties. The studio's position was simple. You signed it. That's the deal. It was a legal victory for the company, but a crushing blow to the man who had defined an entire generation's imagination. The psychological toll of this reality was immense. Adam had sacrificed privacy, endured relentless media scrutiny, and committed years of his life to a character that would define him forever, but all without the financial recognition he deserved. Every public appearance, every press interview, every convention signing was a reminder of the wealth he could have had, and the cruel irony was not lost on him. Fame without fortune can feel hollow, and for Adam, it felt like a constant injustice still. Adam West never allowed bitterness to consume him. He remained professional, charming, and grateful to his fans, recognizing that their admiration was genuine. But privately, he understood the depth of his misfortune. It was a lesson in the harsh realities of Hollywood. Talent alone could make you a star, but contracts and legal fine print could make you powerless. The loophole not only affected Adam financially, but also professionally. Casting directors began associating him solely with Batman, making it difficult to break into new roles. Typecasting confined him to the shadow of the character that had given him fame, but denied him wealth. Every time a new Batman toy hit the shelves or a rerun aired, Adam faced the painful reminder that he had created the magic but wasn't reaping the rewards. Despite all this, Adam West remained resilient. He took small roles in films, guest appearances on TV shows, and voice acting gigs in animated projects. Gradually, he learned to navigate the industry carefully, making peace with the reality that fame and fortune do not always travel together. Yet the story of Adam West and the Batman contract remains a cautionary tale, one of Hollywood exploitation, overlooked contracts, and the unseen cost of becoming an icon. It is the story of a man who became the face of a cultural revolution, but legally owned none of it. And even decades later, fans and historians marvel at the injustice. How could someone so central to a franchise earn nothing from it? How could Hollywood allow this to happen? These questions linger, and Adam West's experience serves as a stark warning to actors everywhere. Never underestimate the power of fine print. Despite the financial injustice of his Batman years, Adam West's legacy only grew stronger over time. While the loophole in his original contract meant he missed out on millions in merchandise and royalties, the cultural impact he had made was undeniable. Generations of fans continued to celebrate him, and gradually, Hollywood began to recognize the man behind the mask, not just the character he played. In the 1970s and 1980s, Adam West faced the reality of typecasting. Casting directors often pigeonholed him as the campy hero or parodied versions of Batman, making it challenging to secure roles that showcased his range as an actor. Many of his contemporaries had escaped such limitations, but Adam's identity had become inseparable from the iconic suit. On one hand, this could have been disheartening. On the other hand, it cemented his place in pop culture history, ensuring that Batman would never be forgotten. Over time, Adam embraced the role that had defined him. Rather than resent it, he leaned into the humor and nostalgia of the character. He attended comic conventions, embraced fan interactions, and even participated in animated adaptations where he voiced older versions of Batman. These appearances allowed him to reconnect with fans across generations and demonstrate that he could own his legacy even if he hadn't owned the profits. Recognition came in other ways too. Awards, tributes, and special guest appearances celebrated not only the Batman series, but Adam's contribution to television history. Industry professionals began publicly acknowledging the injustice of his original contract and praising his professionalism, charm, and resilience. While the money was gone, the respect he earned was enduring. Adam West became more than a character, he became a symbol of perseverance in the face of exploitation, Adam's story also educated future generations of actors about the critical importance of contracts and legal representation. Hollywood, notorious for taking advantage of talent, often used his experience as a cautionary example. Young actors learned that fame can be fleeting and that financial security is never guaranteed without careful negotiation. In many ways, Adam West's misfortune became a lesson that prevented similar injustices from happening to others. In his later years, Adam continued to delight fans. Voice roles in animated series, guest appearances on modern television shows, and cameos in Batman-related projects all allowed him to enjoy the spotlight he had helped create. More importantly, he could finally laugh at the absurdity of his situation. The world had loved him as Batman, and while the studio profited immensely, Adam West had left an indelible mark that no loophole could erase. Adam West passed away in 2017, leaving behind a legacy that transcended the original 1960s Batman series. Fans remember him not just as the campy, cheerful Dark Knight, but as a man who embodied the spirit of a hero, graceful under pressure, committed to his craft, and endlessly respectful of those who loved his work. Though the financial rewards were stolen from him, the admiration, nostalgia, and enduring affection of millions of fans across decades became the true measure of his impact. In the end, Adam West's story is a cautionary tale wrapped in heroism. It reminds us that fame, without careful protection, can be fleeting, and that legal details matter as much as talent. But it also reminds us that legacy cannot be stolen. While the loophole robbed him of money, it could never rob him of the joy, inspiration, and cultural significance he gave to the world. Adam West didn't just play Batman. He became a symbol of honesty, charm, and perseverance, a hero in real life, whose story continues to inspire, entertain, and educate long after the final episode aired. The Caped Crusader may have worn a mask, but Adam West's true character shone brighter than any spotlight Hollywood could provide. It was a document he signed in good faith, one that would haunt him for decades.